we discuss about the variables and data types concept. Like, okay, what are the data types? Only just mentioned in the previous video. Like in the data types in the Python, we have that 14 data types, but the fundamental only only some data types we have, like int, float, complex, and bool and str. Now all these things are like fundamental data types. The remaining are bytes and array, like range, list, and tuple, set, frozenset, and dict and none. Okay, these based on the concept wise, we are going to discuss the remaining data types. Okay, now before going to that, basically by default, the Python is provided like inbuilt some functions. Okay, now we have the type function. The type function is going to be representing like which type of variable. Okay, means like a variable type is going to be mentioned. For suppose simply here, if I mention a is equal to 90, okay, I want to check that 90 is like which type of data. It's int type or float type or boolean type or string type, which type of a. Simply here, that's why the type of the variable we need to pass, it's going to be like printing that output like the int type. Okay, int type. Now if you observe that here, now if you observe here, now the type of okay, before going to the type, now we need to enter that a is equal to 90. Now the type of the type of a value, now here the class int we are going to get. Okay, now the same way here, the id also we have. Okay, what is the purpose of id function? Okay, the id function is used to represent address of the variable. Okay, or simply here, address of the object. Okay, address of the object. Now the same a variable I mentioned, right? Now if you want to know that address of the a variable, now object, simply now id of a I'm going to mention. Okay, now if you want to observe that here, now the same id of a I'm going to mention here. Now see, we got like address of object of id. Okay, now the same way here, we know that the one of the function frequently using, that's a print function. Now print, I want to print a. Okay, now we got like a 90 value. Okay, the print is one of the function to print whatever you want. Okay, in the Python. Okay, the printing any value. Okay, printing any value. Okay, now if you go with that, like these are the inbuilt functions that frequently using in the Python. Okay, now in the Python, everything is an object only. Okay, now in Python, everything, okay, everything is an object. Okay, everything is an object. Now here, before going to that, like all other concepts, first we need to discuss in depth like the data types. Okay, just here I mentioned, but we need to go into like in depth. Now first we are going to work like int data type. Okay, int data type. Now, here we can use the int data type to represent whole numbers. Okay, now to represent whole numbers. Okay, now we can say like integral value also. Okay, integral values also. Now, then how I can mention that int value basically, for suppose a is equal to 89. Okay, now if I mention like type of a, now we know that that is the output int type we got it. Okay. Now in the Python 2, we are using like long data type to represent like very large integral values. But in the case of Python 3, there is no like long data type explicitly, and we can represent long values also by using like a type only. Okay, into type also we can represent. It's not recommended to use the long. Okay. Now here the same into data type we can represent the following ways. Okay. Now we have different ways. The first one is like a decimal form. Okay, now the second one, binary form. Okay, now third one, octal form. Okay, octal form. Now the fourth one, hexadecimal form. Okay, hexadecimal form. Now how we can represent this decimal form and all these things? Okay, the decimal form, okay,